Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started. We're going to talk about three things today. First, we're going to discuss the events of this past weekend. Second, we're going to provide an update on the community outreach we have going on. And then there'll be a special announcement of some special flagship funding for the businesses that were victims of this weekend's events. So, good afternoon, everyone. First today, I want to reinforce that I will continue to be open, honest, transparent, and accessible with everything that I do as mayor. The nation's eyes are on Erie right now. As we have in the past, we will work to understand this trying experience, learn from it, and rise above it to become a better community where violence and destruction will not happen. A community that respects, values, and inspires every member, regardless of race, religion, ethnic heritage, or color of skin. Let me state this plain and simple. The actions of the police officer and some of the rioters were wrong and do not reflect who we are in Erie. We are following the process to conduct our thorough investigations, and I promise you that I will take appropriate action. We are following the process to conduct our thorough investigations. I'm sorry, I already said that. Right now, we as a community must not let our emotions drive us to do things that hurt our neighbors. Instead, let's come together, let's talk, let's listen to each other, work hard to understand and analyze the realities of what happened, and take action to change our future. I want to just take a minute to thank all the folks that are up here on the stage with me from the police force, from some of our community organizations. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here and show your support. There are literally hundreds of hours of video that the investigating team will have to comb through, but each incident will be reviewed and appropriate action will be taken on every one. This includes against members of the Erie Police Department and those who caused disturbances throughout the weekend. Let's not jump to conclusions. We must step back, gather all the evidence, and make decisions based on facts. Many of our residents came together Saturday night to peacefully protest racial injustice in the world, which legitimately needs to be addressed both on a local and a national level. Our police department brought in some extra officers to support the event, to march with protesters, and to provide traffic control so that no one would be injured. After over 3 hours of a peaceful march, many of the peaceful protesters then went home. Around 9 p.m., others joined the nonviolent group. These individuals were not interested in participating in a peaceful protest, nor honoring the memory of George Floyd. We feel deeply for George and his family and the loss there. They were unfortunately there to create chaos, these other people that joined from outside the Erie area. We received intelligence from several sources that outside investigators perpetuated the violence against our city. The officers' vandalism of public property, and destruction of locally owned businesses. This was quickly realized when the rioters, armed with mortar, shell, fireworks, bricks, rocks, and bottles of frozen water, employed force against our officers and began destroying personal and private property. After providing support to the peace demonstrators, our police came under attack. It wasn't until hostile agitators began stirring up the crowd that the police announced it was an unlawful assembly and needed to be brought under control. People are outraged, as I am as well. I share the hurt of those suffering from racial injustice in our city and across our entire country. This hatred and destruction is not our Erie. Again, the violence that I've seen towards civilians, police, and our neighborhood businesses is terrible. I'm committed to a full investigation and holding people accountable. Once the investigation concludes, the Erie Police Department will issue a statement regarding any disciplinary action. Getting to the bottom of exactly what happened on Saturday night is our top priority. Our healing will take time, but I promise you that I will take appropriate action, and I will give everything I have to bring us together, bridge the divide, and restore hope in Erie. I'm now going to turn it over to Chief Dan Spizzarni to provide us with an update from the Erie Police Department. Chief Spizzarni.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, District Attorney Dennery, Mr. Lee, thank you. Everyone else also. First off, I'd like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Members of the public that have supported the police department in this very difficult weekend. Our officers went above and beyond, getting called back to work, working a very long day in the most stressful conditions we've experienced. On Saturday, May 30th at 6 p.m., there was a peaceful protest organized in Perry Square. Members of the Erie Police Department, like the rest of the community, like the rest of the country, were appalled by the incident in Minneapolis that resulted in the death of George Floyd. We pray for his family and friends and for the Minneapolis community. We here in Erie have strived to improve our community relations and will continue to work very hard on this important issue. Erie piloted the Department of Justice's program to improve police-community relations, and the program is ongoing. Prior to this initiative, there was the Community Police Relations Group that involved members of the public and police officers. We've also supported the PAL program and other community outreach efforts. Regarding Saturday's events, we supported a peaceful rally that started at 6 p.m. After the rally ended around 7, a portion of the crowd then began marching through the streets. From Perry Square, they traveled up State Street to 12th, over to Parade Street, back down to 6th, and over to the Erie County Courthouse. At approximately this time, which is around 9 p.m., several hundred participants then proceeded to surround the Erie Police Department. At 9:12 p.m., the crowd then began pounding on the doors, broke a window to City Hall in an attempt to get in, pulling on the doors, began spray painting. When this criminal conduct began, police then sprung to action. Everything had been peaceful up until this time. Police responded by going up onto the roof so that they could be seen and heard clearly, and he announced to the crowd that the illegal conduct could not continue. They must disperse. This was repeated. The last warning, they had advised they had 2 more minutes or tear gas would be used. Officers deployed smoke first to warn the crowd away before any tear gas was deployed. Rioters then began picking up rocks, water bottles, and fireworks and began throwing them at officers on the roof. It was then that the officers began firing the tear gas. This was after 9:30 in the evening. The peaceful protest was well over. Rioters now moved into Perry Square as police officers came out of the building and attempted to disperse the crowd. With the assistance of the state police who were in the building with us, members of the Mill Creek Police Department, and the Erie County Sheriff's Department that was called to assist. Officers went out with helmets and riot shields in order to protect themselves. They were struck with rocks, again, frozen water bottles, bricks, and large professional fireworks known as mortar shells. Rioters in the crowd were observed lighting Molotov cocktails to throw at officers, but they were unsuccessful at this time. Over a dozen of our officers sustained injuries from bruises and cuts, scrapes, gashes, and burns. One officer was struck in the face and fortunately had a face shield on his helmet. The face shield shattered from the brick. Police continued to break up the crowd as officers were being assaulted. They were in danger of serious bodily injury. While all this disturbance was going on, an individual was shot twice by an unknown suspect in the 500 block of State Street. This riot continued until 1 a.m. when the police finally restored order in the downtown. The Erie Police Department arrested 7 individuals during this riot. The first arrest did not occur until 11:15 in the evening. It's over 2 hours that this crowd was out of control. One individual who was captured was observed by officers trying to light a Molotov cocktail in the crowd. He was in the 300 block of State. When police approached, he ran and tried to escape with associates. They were all captured and are now facing criminal charges. The individual with the Molotov cocktail who was arrested was identified as 28-year-old Tyvar Nicholson. We have hundreds of hours of videos that we've been combing through, and just prior to this press conference starting, thank you, I was handed a photograph that was taken off of social media which shows the arrested individual, Tyvar Nicholson, with a mask on, standing in the 300 block of State, holding a lighter and a Molotov cocktail. We will continue reviewing all sources of information, videos, in order to gather the evidence such as that. That is something that we cannot allow. Now, I do understand, unfortunately, the most attention garnered during this whole matter was a video of a single Erie police officer interacting with a protester. The video is disturbing. We're taking this incident seriously, and it is being thoroughly investigated by the inspector of the Erie Police Department. We understand the reach of this video, and we are taking it seriously. Any perpetrators during this event who were identified committing criminal acts will be charged. We hope to never experience an event like this again. The peaceful protest ended at 7. At 9 o'clock, the protest became a full-scale riot. Deadly force was being used against officers and troopers. Businesses were being destroyed. Fires were being set. There were 2 separate events with different purposes. Don't confuse the two. The Erie Police Department will continue to protect all our residents. To be clear, we support the right to protest. We support nonviolence, but we will not tolerate violence or criminal activity of any in our streets. As part of our continuing investigation, I'm announcing the first arrest based on the videos. This individual is a 28-year-old male who is on video breaking the window and committing arson at Ember and Forge. Individual is Melquan Barnett. We have an active warrant and we are currently seeking his whereabouts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Spizzarni, and thanks also to all the police who are here present with us. We really appreciate the work you've done. I can tell you personally, I've got a much greater appreciation for our police department than ever at this point. Also, I want to thank the Mill Creek Police who were here helping us, the sheriff's deputies who came from the county to help us. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. And also Pennsylvania State Troopers. Many Pennsylvania State Troopers were in town for this event as well. And our Erie firefighters who actually put out at least one, I think it was maybe two of the fires that were lit during the riot period. This is the group of law enforcement people that really kept a close eye on things and quickly prevented any additional destruction and ensuring that there were no serious civilian injuries as well. I also want to thank those peaceful protesters who assisted police officers and firefighters by helping them extinguish fires and pick up debris. I want to recognize our public works crew also. They arrived in the middle of the night. As soon as things were quieted down, they came in, they boarded up windows, picked up spent fireworks shells, bottles, bricks, rocks, broken parking meters. That's right. Some parking meters were actually torn out of the ground by some of the protesters, and shattered glass as well. That was all over. We're grateful for that quick response from Public Works. I wanted to thank those residents who came downtown Sunday afternoon as well. They created a chalk walk of positive messages on the sidewalk in front of the buildings that had been vandalized. It was a very welcome relief for the business owners on Sunday to run counter to the damage they found. We are here for you. I would like to, on behalf of all the residents of the city of Erie, thank you all and let you know that you are all appreciated. I also want to say to Chief Spizzarni, you're a good man, and I know you'll get to the bottom of what happened and report any incidents and complaints from over the weekend. Okay, next we're going to move to an update on some of our community outreach. We don't want you to lose sight of that in the events in the face of what happened over the weekend. But when a lot of residents may not know what to do, what our team's been doing actually over the last 2 years and 5 months to foster diversity, equity, and inclusion, which, as you all know, is an important part of my administration. Some of the initiatives include the Police Athletic League, the People's Supper, strengthening police community partnerships, and activating our vision, which we will talk about shortly as well. Our work is only beginning, and this won't stop us from following our mission to build opportunity, restore hope, and transform Erie. And we want to do that for all of our residents, each and every one. Because if it's not for all of us, then it's not for any of us. We must all rise together as a community. In order to do that, we need to work together, arm in arm, having open, honest conversations, and finding and implementing solutions as a team. The Police Athletic League, led by Sergeant Tom Lennox, is one of the most touching initiatives I've ever witnessed personally. Tom has done incredible work over the last 3 years through this community policing initiative with our youth, building relationships with our children and families in Erie Public Schools. The bridges that have been built will help us to get through this together. In fact, I believe that is what's going to transform Erie over time, the work done in this Police Athletic League. Another initiative that has been underway since April of 2018 is the Strengthening Police Community Partnerships Council. This is an extraordinary group of residents from the minority and new American communities who have been meeting with police on nearly a monthly basis to discuss challenges, to find solutions, and to work together to affect change in our community. I'll now turn the mic over to my community liaison, Michael Outlaw, to provide an overview of SPCP as well as some next steps. Michael.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. First, let me say thank you, Mayor Joe Schindler, for your leadership in these trying times for our city. And thank you also to Chief Nancy Zarni, your command staff, for their leadership and bravery in this trying time. And also to the SPCP Council for coming out here today and supporting this administration in a show of solidarity. Our hearts and prayers goes out to Mr. Floyd's family. Before I came to this press conference, I watched on CNN where his brother called an end to the violent rioting and protesting throughout our land. And we echo his words. We support peaceful, nonviolent protests. My ancestors, they protested. For me to stand here today, they protested peacefully. We follow in that same vein. The work of SPCP that we've been doing since the mayor took office, this work is not for the faint of heart. This work is not for those who don't stand for righteousness and justice. This work is for those who believe in the future generations of Erie, Pennsylvania. This work is for those who want generation to inherit an America that our ancestors dreamed about and sacrificed for. The work of the SPCP Council, it is entrenched in empathy, honesty, trust, accountability, all designed to increase public trust and reduce crime. The SPCP Council has been partnering with the Erie Public Schools, with the leadership of Mr. Brian Polito, also with the leadership of Ken Nixon. We've embarked upon we've embarked upon a trust building series with the Erie Public Schools. We've spoken at all local middle schools, with the exception of East Middle due to COVID-19. We've spoken at both high schools, Erie High and Collegiate Academy, and we also, under the leadership of Dr. Nick Biglione, we've also partnered with Perseus Charter School of Excellence to engage their students as well. And we can tell you with passion and conviction that the work of the council, it is changing the attitudes of the students who partake in the SPCP Council. Every time we leave there, we go back to the drawing board. The council goes back to the drawing board because the kids have inspired us to put action with our words. And that's what we will continue to do. Another initiative that we embarked upon was Coffee with a Cop. We actually have done two since the mayor has been in office, and we will continue to work with the law enforcement community, again, and stand in solidarity with law enforcement because of the work that we know is needed, and it's working. Coffee with the Cop, it brings out community members to sit down and have a conversation over a cup of coffee with a law enforcement officer, and to get to know them on a first name basis, and vice versa. The SPCP program, what makes this program unique and stand out is that it strips away the uniforms of the police officers, and it strips away the urban attire of the community, and it shows the human elements on both sides of the paradigm. It shows that these police officers are husbands and fathers and mothers and sisters and uncles and nephews, etc., etc. It shows the human side of the work of a police officer. The SPCP Council also shows the officers the human side of those individuals living within the urban core of our community. And we believe that these efforts have been effective. The next effort that we embarked upon, we actually did a civic engagement in one of the highest crime areas in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania. See, the council, we don't shy away from tough conversations. We don't shy away from pushback from the community. We put our hands to the plow. We march forward in the face of adversity. We've identified this area on the east side between 7th and Wallace Street as the highest crime area in the city. And we did a meet and greet where the mayor, Chief Dan, and other officers knocked on the residents' doors and introduced themselves to get to know the neighbors, to build empathy, to build that rapport within our community, which is so desperately needed. We also, along with Jack Canary, we cleaned up trash. We cut some grass. We landscaped. All right, that's what we did as a council. Way before this initiative or way before this event happened, we've been in the trenches, doing the work, and we will continue to be in the trenches and doing the work. And here's how you can help us. For those listening, here's how you can help us be a part of the solution. The Erie Police Department is currently accepting applications until July 10th of 2020. So you have time to apply, to become a part of the police department, to have your hand in a great work, and to really be the change in this community that you desire. So we're asking you to stand with us today. We know there's challenges within the police department. We know there's challenges within our community. But together, we can address these challenges. So thank you for your time. And God bless.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate everything you're doing. And many of you, I think, already know I always call Michael my brother by another mother. As we connected and worked very well together, and will continue to for many years to come. Next, the city's Department of Economic and Community Development, led by Chris Groner, has some very good news about, especially about the businesses that were affected this weekend, and some plans they put together in a very short period of time here for them. So now I'll turn it over to Chris.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor, Chief, and Michael, for your comments. Moving forward, we recognize that the property aspect of this, the material aspect of this, is certainly not as high a priority as the human toll that we've all seen, experienced here in the last few days. But we do recognize the importance for the city to also be looking to assist our micro enterprises and our small businesses downtown to help them recover from the events of the past few days. So to that end, the city will be looking to assist our community's businesses with their recovery by offering assistance through our small business development grant program, which is known as the Flagship Fund, in order to help get them back on their feet more quickly. These are businesses that have already been struggling and have enormous challenges due to the coronavirus-related shutdown. These are the businesses and micro enterprises that are the smallest amongst us that I always view as the economic activity that bridges economic development with community development. If we were to try to imagine a downtown without a place to go for lunch or somewhere to stop for a cup of coffee to have a meeting, we certainly don't want to envision a downtown where our businesses are not able to recover. We talk frequently about the challenges of having a food desert downtown. We would not want to see a shopping desert or a dining desert to appear. So We certainly want to help them recover. That's part of the fabric of our community. It's going to be part of any healing that we do together moving forward, is to create a better downtown and a better city. And part of that is to have places for all of us to go to and enjoy. So we look forward to helping our businesses recover. And moving forward, the businesses are free to reach out to myself, along with our Business Development Officer, Jen Hoffman, for more details on the program. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I know this money will be put to good use, repairing damages to the businesses and paving a way to helping downtown get back on its feet. I really appreciate that. In closing today, I want to stress that we all have much work to do together as a community. In addition to PAL and SPCP, in January, my team and I unveiled a plan for activating our vision for Erie. And remember, the vision is just 2 sentences. Erie is a community of choice. We celebrate 5 things: our rich cultural diversity, and it's no coincidence that that's number 1. Welcoming, vibrant neighborhoods, world-class downtown and Bayfront, excellent education for everyone, and the abundance of family-sustaining jobs. Everything we work on reflects back to that vision and trying to make it real. The plan for activating our vision is really too long to review now, and we've done that earlier in the year. It's 16 pages in length. It is on our website if you want to look at it again. But I wanted to highlight some of it for you this afternoon, and specifically the section that deals with rich cultural diversity. Our goals under this element of the vision include diversifying our civilian workforce, diversifying our police force, diversifying our fire force, diversifying our citizen leadership on authorities, boards, and commissions, promoting equality for all people, and achieving our welcoming city certification. We have developed projects, programs, and initiatives in each of these areas, and we have key performance indicators set to measure our success. Finally, as I've been saying for the last 2 years, if I accomplish nothing else as mayor, I want to eliminate racism and prejudice in our city. Can you imagine what an incredible place Erie would be if every individual here, every individual, was accepted and valued for the unique talents and skills that every one of us possess? To that end, all of the last year, we embarked on the People's Supper. Groups of about 20 African Americans, about 20 new Americans, about 20 Hispanic Latino Americans, and about 20 white Americans got together for the People's Supper, and it was an incredible transformational experience for those 80 individuals, as well as for me and my staff. My team is now working with our community partners to implement 8 strategies that came out of the People's Supper that all foster diversity, equity, and inclusion here in Erie. One of these projects involved facilitating a young people's supper with the mission of promoting and instilling greater understanding, empathy, and respect among our city's youth, thus leading to a more civil, welcoming, and culturally aware community. This was supposed to happen in late March. It got delayed because of the COVID-19 attack, but we are committed to making this happen as soon as it's safe to get groups together again. Our youth are our future. If we can empower them to be civil, to see diversity as a strength, to respect and value each other, even when we have differing opinions, and to arm them with the tools to facilitate constructive conversations, then and only then we have a very bright future ahead of us. Change is not easy. Change takes time, but with challenges also come opportunities. I said in January that we had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to transform Erie. I meant it then, and I mean it now. So let's work together. Let's make a difference in the lives of everyone living in Erie. That's the dream that we have for our children. They are Erie's future. As Martin Luther King Jr. said on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial back in 1963, I have a dream where children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. It's my goal to have every individual in Erie feel welcome, respected, and valued for the unique talents, perspectives, and abilities that each of them possess. When all residents feel like they belong, when all residents find their passion, when all residents are empowered to share their God-given talents and gifts in the services of others, then and only then will we be all that we can be as a community. I urge you to think about how you can help our community to heal from this event we just went through this weekend and come back stronger. Talk to each other, listen to your neighbors, let me and my team know your thoughts. We are strong, we are better together. Thank you very much. At this point, any of us would be able to take any questions, or if you just want to break the interviews, that's fine as well. Yes?
I have a few questions. The first one for the chief, please. You mentioned internal affairs is investigating the incident involving the officer. Has there been any consideration to have a separate agency investigate? And if not, can you please assure the community that it's going to be a fair and full and complete investigation?
The investigation by Internal Affairs is for the conduct. What happened, identify it all, determine where it falls within the department's policies and procedures, and we can forward it to the district attorney's office for review of criminal.
Chief, relating to that, overall, are you going to have another agency look at the overall performance of the police during the incident? I know that that happens in all the cases where there's shootings and things like that, where sometimes the police ask for other agencies to come in and review the practices to see if anything can work better, anything work really well.
I had not considered it yet. I mean, we're obviously in the middle of the investigation. I think we could ask ourselves at the end if we did things right, we'll review it. We may be able to do that.
You released the name of one person arrested on Saturday. Will you release the other 6? And for the person that was arrested this Saturday, along with the person for the warrant out, are they both Erie residents?
Good point. The 7 names of people arrested Saturday, those names are all available on the arrest report. All the people that were arrested during this event are Erie citizens.
Another question. Obviously, this was an all-hands-on-deck situation for Erie Police. You have 5 officers quarantined right now. Were any of them called in or asked to come in? And if they were, did they come?
Every available body was called. They returned and masked up.
Mayor, you spoke yesterday saying that you were going to call, you called Governor Wolf and you were ready to hear back. Did you hear back from him? If you did, what did he say? If something were to happen again, is there a chance National Guard would come in?
Yeah, I have not had a conversation with Governor Wolf as of yet.
Is there anything you are looking forward to for guidance from him if you do hear from him?
Well, I do value his input and any advice he may have for us. I think the chief and locally we have things well under control and are looking at it closely and really are trying to do everything we can to prevent this from ever happening again.
Is there any estimates of how much damage was caused not only to the businesses downtown, but what you guys encountered here at City Hall?
I haven't heard a dollar figure. I know there was about 14 to 16 businesses. We had said 9, I think, originally, but there were some businesses damaged when that group went down State Street to 12th over 12th Parade that we didn't know about. The only ones we knew about when we first announced were the ones right downtown here. But there were some other businesses along the way that they damaged as well. Ed?
Hi, yeah, Ed Mann here, City Post. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman has said that the city should identify the officer involved in the video to condemn the video. Will the city identify that officer before this investigation is completed? And how do you identify him internally yet?
I have no intention at this time to release the identity of the officer. It's on video and people can take it from where it is, but the investigation is ongoing.
And we do know the identity of the officer as well. So.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think you asked if we know the identity of the officer, and we do. Hannah?
And then, and during when the police came out with the riot gear, were they using pepper spray? What were they using to tactics to disperse the crowd?
We utilize, officers individually have pepper spray, and we also utilized CS.
Chief, didn't we also use just some smoke with that? That wasn't at all toxic to try to wake them up at first?
Before any of the CS was deployed, a smoke canister was used. Tactically, that's used in order to determine the windage so that when we do deploy the gas canisters, that we know which direction it's going to go. That's to make it more efficient. It's also given as a warning sign to the protesters.
Hannah? Can you hear us,
Have you been
Hannah?
able to identify any of the outside groups that were instigating the riots and the violence?
At this time, all the people arrested were City of Erie residents. There has been information of potential outside agitators, and it is still under investigation.
You're pretty difficult to hear. Can you say that again? Maybe louder?
We couldn't hear you, Anna. Could you please speak up? Repeat the question.
You can't seem to hear us now.
Mayor, Lower Wayne, at the beginning of the news conference, you said that you referred to some actions being wrong.
Yesterday, there were demonstrators in Perry Square for a second protest.
Could you understand that, Frank?
There's demonstrators in Perry Square for a second protest.
There's a huge delay on my end. Yesterday, protests were broken up in Perry Square pretty quickly, but protests But the protesters had permission to be in Perry Square. Why were those broken up?
Yesterday, protest.
All right. Sunday evening, another rally appeared in the park. All right. First off, under COVID-19, the city parks have been closed for over 2 months. The rally on Saturday did not have a permit. It was permitted to go, and we saw what the result was. Sundays do not have a permit. Under COVID-19, the park was closed, and because of the riot on Saturday night, an emergency declaration was made by the mayor indicating that the city was under emergency. Due to that fact, no further gatherings of that sort are permitted. We do not wish a repeat of the night before. Therefore, when the protesters were arriving, they were advised that there was no permit and it was closed down.
Follow up on that, the African American Concerned Clergy is planning a silent, peaceful protest for this Saturday. They've applied for a permit. Are they going to be denied that because of everything that you just mentioned? And are there any concerns that a peaceful protest could change because of what happened Saturday?
I have not seen the permit. I'll talk to the permitting office, but it was something that we'll have to evaluate this week and see what their plans were. I don't have details, so I don't know.
Chief, can I speak to that?
Yes, sure.
It's not a rally, I don't even step here. It's not a rally that's stemming from the African American Concerned Clergy. It's a group of concerned clergy, some African American, some Latino, and some Caucasian. So it's not stemming from the AACC. I don't know where they get the information from, but it's not an AACC event. that's, and later we can talk, because that's, we will have a meeting about that.
Mayor and Chief, now that you've had a chance to see more video of what encountered this weekend, what is your evaluation of how the police force did, how everything was handled?
I can tell you, first I'd like to comment on the march that would be Saturday with the concerned clergy. I was contacted maybe about 2 hours ago by Bishop Dwayne Brock, and he told me about it. He said the plan is it would march a few blocks, but it would be silent the entire time. They're going to be actually in their church garb, and so it's a walk of prayer. And he'd asked me if I would participate, and I basically, as long as it's approved to be done, I definitely will participate in that as well. That's Saturday at noon. I think it starts at 12th and State, if I remember correctly. Now your question about how we think.
Yeah, now that you've had a chance to see more videos and.
You know, honestly, I'm disappointed it happened here in Erie. The fact that it appeared to be out-of-town rabble-rousers that made the bad things happen gives me a little bit of calm that these aren't. Unfortunately, they put Erie people in the front, and since the Erie people that got arrested, they're smart enough to know to stay in the background and get local people to take the fall. I'm pleased with the way our police handled it. I really am happy with the kind of support we got from the state, the county, Mill Creek. We've tried to respond likewise when help is needed there. So I'm not happy it happened, but I believe it was handled well. Chief, do you want to comment on that as well?
This is a situation that we don't face on a daily basis. Such enormous assault. The officers and troopers that were involved were under a constant attack for over 2 hours. And I can't express my appreciation for all of those officers that were out there. Even when injured, they remained on the line to help protect the city. I can't say anything, but they did a great job.
I had a chance to meet Sunday with some of the officers. They were back at work the next day. I'm sorry, that would have been Saturday. They were back at work the next day, and they were showing me the bruises. And I'm like, how can you come to work? Saying, that's not going to stop us from coming to work. Was there another question?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Michael, regarding the community outreach programs. Are you concerned that this entire situation here in Erie and across the nation has set your efforts back too far to be successful, or are you confident the foundation is strong enough to get through this?
I think the foundation is strong. I know the foundation is strong enough to get through this. Anyone who's witnessing what's happening in our land and across our nation should be inspired to answer the call in the midst of this chaotic situation to help us bring diversity to the police department.
Mayor, just following up, at the beginning of your comments, you mentioned some things that you felt were wrong that happened on Saturday night. Were you referring to the Civic Engagement or other things regarding the police? I wasn't certain of that.
So I referred to something wrong.
Yeah, some things that were wrong.
I think there was a lot of wrong things that happened. Actually, certainly any of the violence or destruction, hurting other people, any of that is wrong. And so there was a lot of wrong things that happened.
What about anything that the police did that you consider wrong at this point?
I mean, it does seem to be, but again, it has to be investigated. I don't judge anyone. Personally, I leave that up to others. But anybody that hurt someone else did something wrong, in my opinion. If you physically hurt someone else.
Is there only one officer going over any investigation in internal affairs right now? Is it just the one with that video, or do you have any other officers being investigated?
Not that I know of.
Between the Erie Police Department had over 100 officers, state police had probably close to that, Mill Creek Sheriff's deputies. I'm aware of no reports of any misconduct on behalf of the police officers. I'm aware of criminal conduct. I'm aware of hundreds of protesters that were throwing rocks, stones, bricks, bottles at the officers, and they took it for 2 hours.
Hannah, all right, on Zoom?
Any other questions from anyone?
I have no further questions.
Ed?
No, thank you.
Emily?
No, thank you.
Chelsea?
I'm good.
Okay. Thanks very much for being here. Remember, we want to make Erie better, and we need to work together and accept everyone here in order to do that. Certainly anyone present will be happy to do one-on-one interviews after we are done as well. Thanks very much for being here today. I appreciate you putting up with us for almost an hour here. Thank you.
Thanks for the time, man.